Good evening and welcome to a new edition of To The Point. 6 years ago, Eve, 6 years ago to be exact, Egypt woke up to a very different path. 6 years ago, the January 25th revolution erupted in Egypt. Since then, a lot of questions raised themselves, not only about what was achieved, but maybe how did the political map of Egypt change? How did the Egyptian rank and file change? And how did the ranking of Egypt or the stand of Egypt change worldwide? This evening with us, a distinguished gentleman, with us is Dr. Khaled Refaat, who's a political analyst, who will be shedding light on 6 years after the revolution, what has been achieved. Good evening.
Good evening to you and the viewers.
Generally speaking, before we go into details, would you say that we achieved or not in the 6 years?
Actually not at all. If you look at any field, if you talk about economics, if you talk about foreign policy, if you talk about even social composition of Egyptian right now is completely different to what we used to before 6 years ago. I don't want to say that everything is dark or we didn't have everything is bad, but for the time being, actually, from my point of view, we achieved that the political knowledge of the Egyptians is raised right now. Before the 25th, Jan 25th, there was kind of depolarization of the Egyptians, or every Egyptian doesn't concern about politics at all. All he cares about is economy, is football, whatever they care. But right now, if you go on the street, everyone is talking politics. Everyone is eating politics right now. So I think this is something good. This is another thing where one of the advantages of Jan 25th that right now any president would stay only for 4 years or another period of another 4 years, not even 1 day more than that. But I think these are the only two things we achieved from Jan 25th. But
on an international level?
At an international level, there is kind of balance between our relationship with Russia or the Eastern camp, whatever you name it, Russia and China, and the Western camp of the US and Britain and Europe, whatever. There's kind of balance right now. Anyway, our relationship is not biased to any of the two camps right now. I think this is something good too, but if you look at our foreign policy right now, we have a lot of problems. We have problems with the Gulf, especially with Saudi Arabia. We have problems with Italy. We have some with Britain. We have some problems also with many countries like Ethiopia, like Sudan, or whatever. So we have a lot of problems right now. We need to work on this file a little bit more.
Do you think maybe the problems could be stemming from the fact that the Egyptian foreign policy has changed? In other words, we were more submissive, if we can put it that way, and now Egypt has a strong position vis-a-vis a lot of issues.
Yes, I do agree with you.
Be the reason why maybe there is some confrontation or tension with some parties?
There's a lot of confrontation right now because they don't want to bring us back to the other situation that we are in the Western camp. But Egypt is struggling to get out of this situation. So I do agree with you 100% that we're paying the price of our freedom. We pay the price of our independence.
Well, you have terrorist activities
in Sinai.
Frequently in Sinai, for example. This is the price you're paying for saying we don't want a terrorist organization to govern us.
You have a lot of more than that. You have some economic embargo on Egypt right now. It's a big embargo on Egypt. We have got economic sanction too on Egypt right now. If you look at the investment in Egypt, in the last 2 years, you don't have just 1 penny came to Egypt because the West is fighting you. The West is just squeezing you, with some economic sizing on your economy. Look at the tourism. There is no tourism at all. Yes, I do want to fight. We are fighting a war. This war is not against some terrorists there, but against who are controlling them.
The fact that you're fighting for your independence, so to speak, isn't that an achievement?
Yes, it is. But for how long? This is a question.
For as long as it takes.
Yes. And how long is it going to take? It's a question.
As long as it takes. Do you want, as an Egyptian, do you want to go back again to be following someone else's policy?
No, Egypt will never be a follower again. Egypt is an independent country. So what I'm saying is you got to give me a plan. We're going to be fighting for something like this. For how long the terrorism in Sinai going to stay? We'll
You are an analyst. How long do you think it will take?
Actually, I don't know. Actually, I'll tell you why. I don't know. Because if you want to cut the terrorism, you got to stop the sources of the terrorism, the source itself. I'm not going to fight those two kids fighting me in Sinai day and night. I should stop the source of terrorism. If you wanted to do this, you have two things to do. First thing, to fight poverty, and thing to fight ignorance. If you fight ignorance and fight poverty, you gotta close the tap of the terrorists coming day and night. It's meaningless to fight, to kill one or two or three, and next day kill one or two or three, and next day, because the source is open.
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
The people that are enacting those terrorist acts,
yeah.
Some of them are indeed being manipulated and brainwashed, and those terrorist organizations are, utilizing or making use of their ignorance and maybe their economic situation.
Yeah, both of them.
But let us not forget, the problem is not just those who carry out those acts, but those who mastermind and finance those acts.
Who behind them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you think they will ever be short of people to manipulate, even if it's non-Egyptians?
No.
I mean, look at what's happening in Syria. Most of the people, the terrorist factions in Syria, are not Syrians.
And what's going on right now? They are moving them to Libya.
So it has nothing to do necessarily with local economic situation. It's a political agenda that is being carried out, or you don't see it this way?
No, I see this, but I'm going to ask you, what forced these people to do this? What moves these people to do this? What's the motivation of these people to do this? They tell them, okay, come, this is jihad, this is Islam, you got to fight. These people are tyrants, you got to kill them, you got to get rid of them. So I have a problem with ignorance. I mean religious ignorance. I should stand the same, and the word we use to say day and night, we should correct the political and the religious, whatever.
Discourse.
I don't agree with this anymore. We need to reform. I need to reform, not to correct. Because right now we have a big war in Egypt. We have a terror war, we have economic war at the same time. As that's what the president said today in his speech. He said that we are fighting in two fields, the economic one and the terrorist one at the same time. So what's the solution? The solution is that I should stop the sources. I should fight who behind them, who are the providers. I'm not going to fight
the providers are countries. You're going to fight those countries?
At least I'm going to stop them. At least.
How?
Let's talk
because
frankly.
this is an international issue.
Let's talk frankly.
When we talk, please take into account that Egypt is heading the committee in the United Nations that is entrusted with combating and confronting terrorism. Terrorism is not an Egyptian issue.
Okay.
It's an international phenomenon.
I do agree with you. We have two problems right now. Are these countries fighting you with weapons? Is it solid war? Is it soft war?
Today
soft
it's not.
What is the problem if you fight them back the same way as you do? I don't see that. Let's talk frankly.
Can you elaborate a little bit more? When you say fight back,
what about Qatar and what about Turkey? Qatar and Turkey, what is the idea to have your ambassador down there? What is the idea to have good relationship with Turkey day and night? What if Turkey announced and said publicly in public to everyone that this is a coup and we don't agree with you, I'm not gonna hand it with the Egyptian government, and so on. At the same time, you got your own ambassador down there, and you have a good relationship with Turkey.
We have a good relationship with Turkey.
Don't see that.
I'm asking you, do you see us having a good relationship?
When you talk about the people or talk about the government?
No, I'm talking about the government.
The government, I haven't seen one speech at all say to Turkey, enough is enough. Don't interfere in our business. This is our business. Please stay at your home. It's not all your business at all. That's what I want to say from Egyptian government. I haven't said it yet. Same thing about Qatar. Qatar, every day you send them a red list for the Interpol, saying, oh, we need these guys. These guys are we have returned from Egypt, and we have some punishment with them, and we bring them back to get their punishment in Egypt. say, no, 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 we're not going to deliver them to you. And have nothing to do, just watch. That's what I'm saying. We need to have some solid situation against those two countries.
But should this be an Egyptian action or maybe a more unified Arab action? Again, because as I was saying, the issue of terrorism is not restricted just to us. You know, what's happening in Libya, what's happening in Sudan, what's happening
all
in
over the world. In Europe, in US, all over the world right now.
But even if we look at our region itself, which is really a boiling point, should this be a one-country action, or should we, for example, have some kind of a collective action against the countries, at least the countries in this region, that support such action?
We have two reasons to do that. First reason, what you said, that these people are interfering with the other. Second thing, that we are the victims of those two countries. So I should fight back. Let me tell you something. There is a big debate right now about the word terrorism. What do you mean by terrorism? There is a debate if it's terrorism or is it resistance. When you talk about the Hamas in Israel, we talk about whatever.
Is Hamas resisting Israel's occupation?
For the time being, hell no, nothing at all. There is a big relationship between, they are fighting us. They are exporting terrorists to us.
What has Hamas done, since we're talking about January 25th.
Not at all, nothing at all.
Since January 2011, what has Hamas done to fight
not
Israeli atrocities?
Just talk, nothing at all, just talk, nothing at all. Frankly speaking, what ISIS did to Israel, what ISIS, Daesh did to
Daesh
Israel,
do to
nothing
Israel?
at all. Well, let me ask you one question, and I don't know what's the answer. Can you give me an explanation why there is not even one terrorist operation in Qatar? Not even one.
Why?
Give me an explanation. Is it normal? Not even one terrorist operation in Qatar? Because they are the masterminders. That's what I'm saying.
I'll hold your thought there, and we have with us on the line Dr. Yumn Hamai, who's a former member of the Shura Council. Dr. Yumn, can you hear us? Dr. Yumn?
Yes, hello, Dina.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
It's been 6 years since January 25th revolution. How far do you see us coming in those 6 years?
Actually, I see that these 6 years have been full of opportunities and challenges for the Egyptian economy. I believe that a lot of challenges have confronted the Egyptian economy due to a shortage of foreign currency and due to disturbance that affected seriously the competitiveness of production, specifically for the industrial sector, and affected, exportation of Egypt. And this has been reflected completely on the shortage of foreign currency and made the problem of the complete flotation of the Egyptian pound at the end. But meanwhile, a lot of other things that happened in order to pave the way for having, more opportunities to invest in Egypt and, preparing for a good climate of investment. On top of it is securing sources of energy. I believe that several huge projects have been done in order to secure sources of energy, not only by, the traditional sources of energy, but renewable too. We have now in Egypt, we are addressing, enhancing the role of renewable energy, which is quite important for the climate of investment. At the same time, we are about to have a new law of investment in which we are trying to ease, all the methods in order to register for new investment and having incentives for investment in the projects that may affect positively economic development, such as from two perspectives. First, regarding the products that may enhance exportation or import substitution. From another perspective, in areas that have been deprived during the last period from having economic development, such as Sinai and Upper Egypt. And the new law of investment is having a lot of opportunities and incentives in order to, integrate the informal sector into the formal sector.
Yes.
Besides having significant encouragement for SMEs, with the initiative of President El-Sisi of having 200 billion Egyptian pound by interest rate just 5%. So I believe, these are examples of, to how extent we are paving the way to have a significant, transformation of our economy. Besides having, new projects regarding the reclamation of 1.5 million patents and improving the capability of the Egyptian economy regarding the agriculture sector, in which 30% of manpower is working in it, and by this enhancement, you are, improving the quality of life of farmers, and this is a very important step to have social security. So we are trying to diversify our economy. We are trying to enhance the role of the agriculture as well as the industrial sector. Still a lot of challenges regarding, stabilization of exchange rates, regarding macroeconomic stability. But I believe that according to international, organizations that mentions that Egypt, and like the economist mentioned, Egypt is one of the, very encouraging countries regarding investments.
Can you also shed light on how do you see the Egyptian person changing?
Excuse me, I can't hear you.
I'm talking about the Egyptian person. How do you see him changing, if you think they changed?
You know that what we need to have, and we are about to have some changement in the, ministries. I believe that what we need to concentrate on for the coming period is having a vision towards what are our priorities, which means that, we have done a lot of things regarding, infrastructure, roads, addressing slums, a lot of things that can be considered as structural transformation in order to pave the way for this economic growth to be better. But still, we are in deep need due to the, huge amount of expenditure and still shortage of, revenue coming either by taxation or by exportation and tourism. We still need to make some kind of prioritization regarding what economic activities we have to concentrate on, specifically using, productive capacities that are not used efficiently, like the public sector company, like, more efficiency in addressing SMEs. Still, we don't have a visionary approach towards what activities we have to concentrate on regarding how to give incentives for the informal sector in micro enterprises in order to be transferred into the formal sector. I believe these are the kind of, activities that we need to concentrate on in order to address the short period challenges by helping people to address the inflation, and having more income, how to upgrade skills of workers, specifically from the technical school graduates, because they are mostly suffering from poverty, how to help them to gain more income so that they can address inflation.
Dr. Yumna Hamai, thank you very much for your fruitful input. Unfortunately, Dr. Yumna did not hear my question about the person. And if I can get you just to shed light, since you're dealing with the public, how do you see the person changed? Aside from the fact that we became more politicized, as you said, the psychology of the Egyptian person, how did it change?
It went to two different paths at the same time. One of them, they get more brave. They have the courage right now to fight anyone, try to refuse anything wrong. They say stop. A higher voice or volume is high right now. At the same time, you have something else. People are not respecting each other as you used before. The younger are not respecting the older people right now. The younger say, oh, we are the revolutionary, we have this revolution, we have another idea, we have another vision. You are coward, whatever they say. So you went to both sides. I think this is just a temporary station, and we're gonna get back to rare Egyptian personality. I think less than 10 years from now, everything gonna settle down right now. But you know, after any revolution, there's a time of timber. Everything is tensioned right now. So I'm not gonna judge people right now at the same time, because these people are just getting out of a revolution. So if you name it a revolution, whatever you name it, get out of Jan 25th. So from my point of view, we're gonna just sit down and watch people in the next 10 years, everything can sit there back again.
Would you consider that we have some economic achievements? Would you consider these are achievements? Yes,
of course. As Dr. Yumna said, especially in electrical powers. You have electrical If you just go back 3 years ago, we have a blackout in Egypt every day and night. If you remember all the rumors and all the jokes and whatever, right now we have no problem at all. We have an excess of 2 or 3 a day. We are exporting.
We're supposed to reach a stage whereby we would export, yes.
Yes. So this is something. We have another thing that we have hopes, we are very optimistic about the gas fields, especially in the Mediterranean Sea, which should start by next November or next December, I think. So this can make a balance. We don't need to import more gas from other countries, so we're gonna save more dollars, and we're gonna keep our reserve from. We are using about $300 million every month to import gas.
Sources of energy, yes.
Yeah, so we need to save this money. I think things gonna get a little bit better by the end of this year. We are now in the bottom of the, as they say, in the bottom, just in the bottom. If you go back, like. As the president says, just be patient for 6 more months. And I do believe him.
Why do you think he's saying 6 months?
I'll tell you what. We have to...
Because he always says a time frame and then something comes up. What do you think will come out of the bag 6 months from now?
No, there's 2 things. What went wrong? Let's ask this question. What went wrong? Why we are now in this bad case? Because you have 2 main things, you missed them, the tourism and the investments. You lost 14...
Which is your bread and butter.
Yes. You lost $14 billion coming from tourism, and you have lost about $3 or $4 billion coming from investment.
And this is a war against you.
It's a war against you.
This is a type of war against you.
Right now, everyone expects that by next March or next April, the tourism will come back again. They start now with German.
Fingers crossed.
Please, please God. This happened, I guess, the Germans started yesterday, say they're going to start back their flights to Sharm el-Sheikh. And I think the Russians say that next March we're going to start our flights back to Cairo and Sharm el-Sheikh and Hurghada. So I have no problem with this. This is the first thing. Second thing is that, fortunately, I hope that the gas is going to start in November or in December, whatever. So you have your contracts in July and June. So you got some dollars coming in the reserve. Another thing, right now you are just killing the imports. You are just killing the imports. If you go to buy anything imported, it's very hard to find it because the dollars went up, the prices went up, And you have a big opportunity, as Dr. Yomna said, a big opportunity for the national industry.
You have to wake the national industry. I mean, we turned from an export-oriented to a 100% import-oriented country. This is not healthy.
This is a big problem.
This has to be changed.
Remember what happened back in the 60s, that you are manufacturing everything and you don't import anything from the outside in 60s, back in 60s. We need to go back at this time. This is
we need to change the culture.
It changes the culture that everything that's imported is way better than the national thing. No, it's not true. The national industry, if you just take care and put effort and put vision in it, you're going to improve it. You're going to be better than the imported one, and you're going to export it outside. I gave you just 2 examples. Look at the rags, Egyptian rags are the best in the world. The cotton industry are the best in the world. Like ceramics and tiles are the best in the world. So you have...
Crystal.
Yes.
You have the best sand.
Yeah, the best sand in the world. From the white sand coming from Sinai. So we have a lot of opportunities. I do agree with Dr. Yomna, a lot. But you need to take advantage of these opportunities at the right time. Our problem is not to take the right decision at the right time. I need to take the right decision at the right time this time. Hopefully, we're not going to miss this opportunity. We missed the opportunity in the first industrial revolution, and we missed it in the second industrial revolution. I hope now to get this opportunity right now in the electronic revolution. We need to call centers. We need to just focus on the electronics industry and the call center industry, and we're going to gain a lot of money. India right now is making about $100 billion of this industry. We need just a little share of this, and everything going to change in Egypt.
Education.
This is a problem of the problems. This is the top problem of the problems. I have no problem if you make roads day and night, make bridges, make harbors, make airports. I have no problem with that. Every country can do this. But if you build up a new Egyptian person, as Dr. Yomna said, high technically educated, the guy who gonna invent, not guy just operate, the guy who gonna invent, you make your own technology here in Egypt. If you get this guy or get this student right now in secondary school, university, whatever, this guy is a treasure you need to keep. You can export this one to other countries with millions and millions. So we need to focus on education. I don't know why the Egyptians right now are not putting this as the number one priority. If you have an educated people, you have a good country. That's what happened in UAE Emirates, Arab Emirates. That's what happened in Japan. That's what happened in Germany. First thing, I don't care about the buildings. I care about the humans.
Yes.
If I invest in humans, I think every each dollar I'm going to invest in people, I'm going to bring back $100. But if you invent in machine, there is nothing will happen, because the machine, after 2, 3, 10 years, is going to throw it away. But people going to bring more and more and more, and you have your own technology. I hope to have a national program to improve education here in Egypt. I hope to have our missions go to Europe, go to Japan, go to US, whatever, to bring back the technology, bring back the vision, how to improve education here. I don't want to invent the wheel again, to reinvent the wheel. I want to start from the point they ended out. And I think everything now is published. I don't need to send someone there in Japan, watch what's going on. Simply I just open Google, see what's going on there, and bring it back here. And everything is published right now. It needs just a vision. That's all I need. And a will too. If you got the will and you got the vision, I think we are going to put in the right track. But actually for the time being, I don't see people or the government or whoever are concerned with this vital problem, which is education.
As far as our foreign policy is concerned, you were saying we have a more diversified foreign policy. The fact that maybe now we're looking more at Africa, which has been a file that has been ignored.
It's our backyard.
For the past at least...
40 years. 40.
Well,
yep.
So to speak. How are we progressing in the African file? And maybe before we take your answer, we have on the line Dr. Sharif Al-Khuraibi, who's an economic expert. Dr. Sharif, can you hear us?
Good evening to you. How are you?
Good evening, sir. It's been 6 years since the revolution. How do you feel Egypt has progressed?
Okay, so of course the revolution of 2011, 25th of January, it was against three things: against corruption, against political, we can say the bad politicians, and also against something which is very, very important for our country, the education situation and health for people. After 6 years, we can say that, of course, about education and health and whatever, it is improving. We didn't reach yet to the optimum situation or even for terrorism reasonable situation, but we are in process. But about corruption, and especially in last 3-4 months, we read and we witnessed that there is a lot of corruption fighting cases. It was extremely successful. So these things, I think it will level the road to have a real economic revolution. Because without having transparency, without having a very good education system, without having very good health conditions for Egyptians inside, I don't think or believe that we can get any economic growth. So we are in process, and I think this year it will have a lot of positive changes in the economy side. As His Excellency promised at the end of last year, he told us by end of December that we have about 6 months, and after that you can see what will happen. And we believe in what His Excellency said, and we trust him, so we are expecting excellent improvement in the economic sector.
Aside from the economic sector, a question which we have to analyze: the Egyptian person, how do you think we changed?
Sorry, I can't get you because I don't hear you well.
The Egyptian person, how do you think we changed? How did the Egyptians change over the past 6 years?
Of course, the change of because at the beginning, after the revolution, we had a lot of, we can say, unbelief, because everybody never believed that one day the old regime, which Mubarak regime, will change one day. But after it happened and we changed already, also we faced some problems according to insecurity and also according to the Muslim Brothers' plan to jump and take the power. But after getting, or after having 30th June revolution, and now after 3 years of that great revolution, I think Egyptians now started to recognize that we are in the right track, especially the roadmap of His Excellency, which he promised 3 years ago. We already have the, we can say he fulfilled his promises. And we are in, inshallah, this year, as he promised also as well, after having the infrastructure, after having the giant project like New Suez Canal, like this 1.5 million acre in the desert, like many other things. So I think, inshallah, this year we'll start have something we can feel it in economic sector, as inshallah we will expect the GDP of Egypt will increase this year, and also the value of Egyptian pound in front of dollar is going to be improved, and I'm expecting this will happen within a couple of months.
Before we wrap up with you, since you're a heavy investor and you're involved a lot in Africa, how far have we come in our relations with Africa?
Of course, the relation with Africa, as you know, before, I mean, during Mubarak time, it was not good at all. And I witnessed that because I'm working in sub-Saharan African countries for more than 20 years now. But right now, we have, I think, excellent relation with all of African countries. And Egypt, it took its place again in the African Union, and it plays now a very big role related peace in the continent and also economic and social development.
Dr. Shifra Khuraibi, thank you very much for your fruitful input. We said Africa, which you were saying was ignored for the past 40 years.
Yes. Let me say something. We should look at Africa from two aspects. First thing, the River Nile, the problem of the River Nile everyone is talking about. Second thing we should concentrate on, which is, it's a big market. We are talking about 600 million people. It's a big, big market. If you just export to half of these people, 1/4 of these people, you're going to have a giant industry. So we should handle with Africa
and it's a very rich continent in resources.
It's a rich country around the world. You are not the only player down there. China is playing right now, Israel, Turkey, and United States and France. Got many players are there. So you need to concentrate on what you need from Africa. I need to get in this market. I don't want to, I want a big share. I don't want the only share. I want a big share in this market. And I need to make sure that no one is playing on my backyard, which is the River Nile. No one. I don't mean Ethiopia. I mean who is behind Ethiopia. This is very, very important. So if you have a good relationship with every country in Africa, you have the tools to do this. Right now, you have some problems with Sudan. We have some problems with Syria. You have some problems with Morocco, wherever. But I think by the end of this month or next month, everything's going to change and everything's going to improve. So I'm very optimistic about the relationship, the African-Egyptian relationship. I think the ministry of Mr. Shamah Shokri right now is a good player, and he knows exactly what he's doing right now. And I hope everyone is supporting him. I hope to continue what he's just started. If you look back 3 years ago, what happened? Egypt was out of the African Union. This is very weird, because we are who constructed the African Union, which was African organization at that time.
Yes.
As they kick us out. This is very, very weird. But right now, we are the representative of Africa in the Security Council. Right now, we are the best player in Africa with Nigeria and with South of Africa. This thing, people don't eat politics. People eat economics. We should translate the economics into politics into economics. So we need to make advantage with our relationship with these countries, especially sub-Sahara countries, as Dr. Chief said, to make money to improve our life, to full fare of Egyptian citizens. Another point I want to mention here is that I think most of the internal wars in Africa went down right now. There's no war no more in Africa. If you look at the African map, no more. Just some terrorist operation in Mali, some in Chad, in Algeria, and that's it. So things are right now are very, very ready to go and get the opportunity. Not like 20 years ago or 30 years ago. If you look back in Africa 10 years ago, you're gonna a war between every two countries in Africa.
Yes.
But now things settle down. Things are ready for investment, and some players or some competitors went there, like Turkey, like China, and they started mega projects there right now. We need to go, and we need to go in a huge amount. I'm not talking about the Egyptian government. I'll talk about the Egyptian investors too.
Yes.
The Egyptians should be encourage them, give them some support to go there, because this is going to reflect on the Egyptian economy.
A final question before we wrap up. What message would you be delivering to the Egyptian people right now, especially the young people who are impatient about reform, and maybe to the world at large?
I'll tell you what. I wrote this on my Facebook account. I said, people, please be patient. Please be patient. We are in the worst situation right now. Things are going to go better bit by bit. I expect that are going to go for 15, 16 by the end of March for each pound. And I expect the Egyptian economy going to just start up again, moving again by the end of July and so on. Because if you look right now, we have 4,600 factories with closed right now. It doesn't work. So we have in the worst situation. So how long are I going to stay for this? 2 or 3 more months. Please be patient. The president said 6 months. Now one month went out, so we have 5 months left. So please, people, be patient. Reform has a price. There is no reform without pain. We are now suffering. We are suffering. Everyone is suffering right now. I go to the market. I pay my bills and see what's going on. Everything is bad, bad, bad. But for how long? After 5 months, after 6 months, we're going to stay. No, you promised us to have this and this and that. I'm optimistic. I feel that things started to improve right now. There is no darker than this.
What message would you be directing to the world at large? People who are looking at us right now and wondering.
Egypt's coming back. I say Egypt is coming back. Egypt was a 7,000 civilization. Egypt was 100 million people. Egypt was a culture is coming back. Egypt doesn't deserve this situation. Egypt deserves a better situation than this. And we are coming back with work, with hard work. We're going to gain again our situation in the world. So people, just be patient again. We are coming back because this is not Egypt as we used. Egypt, if you look at our history, from pharaohs till now, Egypt will never be like this. Never have just take loans from every country of the world. People are just have problems on the streets. Egypt will never be like this. But we expect that Egypt to come back in 2 or 3 months, no more than this.
Dr. Khaled Refaat, thank you very much for your fruitful input. And indeed, it may seem tough. Yes. But then again, no country after 2 revolutions managed to get its act together in a couple of years. It really is a long road of hard work. And on that note, I wish you a very pleasant evening and good night.